Let's talk for a moment about the Muppets.
Right? I will talk for so many moments about the Muppets.
Multiple moments for Muppets?
All of the moments for Muppets.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts on the trailer?
I loved it.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was such a smart direction to go in. You know, and I loved how meta it got, because I think, and the Muppets are often very meta.
Very,
you know, I mean,
that's always been an element.
That's always been, that's like super in their tradition. So they're just being in a meta in a way that makes sense now.
Yep.
You know, and they're adapting to the current audience, but still being their little Muppety selves.
Yes.
And I want to play, like, you've interviewed Kermit and Piggy, right?
I have interviewed Kermit and Piggy. Very difficult. No, they were good.
Was it who was doing the voices that day?
I mean, it's the people who've been doing it for years now. Yeah.
I interviewed
What
Kermit.
do you mean doing the voices? It was Kermit and Piggy.
It was Kermit and Piggy. I'm sorry, forgive me. I interviewed Kermit, and it was so magical. Yeah. It was so magical.
It's pretty great.
It, but I don't care.
And that's another one where they haven't done the full pilot, but they did like a longer presentation. But yeah, I think it looks really funny. I really like the direction they're taking with it. It's being produced by Bill Prady, who's the co-creator of Big Bang Theory, which I know is another show with our audience can be kind of polarizing. But I actually was fascinated to find, I didn't know he had this huge history with Henson and the Muppets, and one of his first jobs was working for Henson, and he wrote the Muppet Vision show that's at the Disney parks.
Really?
That, you know, that debuted in like 1990 or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, and so he's actually been trying to make this show happen for like 10, 15, but well before Big Bang Theory, he had an early kernel of what this show would be.
Of wanting to do the Muppets.
Yeah.
I am curious, you know, the movies weren't as successful as I think that many would have hoped.
I think the first, well, it wasn't giant.
It wasn't giant.
I think it was the fact that the second one was way less than, that hurt.
Even the first one wasn't a giant hit.
It wasn't giant,
So what do you think the Muppets on TV will do?
It's really hard to say, right? It's like, because there's such affection for them. Like, there really is affection for the characters, but they're not like the biggest characters. So I don't know. And it's on ABC, which is not, you know, they're kind of in the middle ground right now, ratings-wise. They have some major problems. They have some major triumphs with like the Shonda Rhimes stuff. So I don't know. It's really hard to say. It's going to air with Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you compare with the Muppets where you're like perfect, because there's only one Muppets.
Yeah.
You know. It'll lead into there'll be Muppets Fresh Off the Boat, and then the Shield/Agent Carter thing.
It's interesting because I feel like it has the potential to hit those four quadrants, like, but legitimately. But then it also has the potential to be something that people are like, I don't know what that would be, so I'm not going to watch it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I understand this thing, so I'm not going to engage with it.
Yeah.
That's my concern with it.
It is a concern, and there'll always be the people that are like, oh, well, you know, although it's weird to think that people would still be like, Muppets, that's for kids, when it's always been for all audiences.
Yeah. The Muppet Show is not just for kids.
No. It always had a smart level working for everyone, and they have described this new version as more adult, which has made some people be like, "What? It's not for kids? It is for kids too." It's just even more than the original. I think they're writing with that, which happens with the better animated shows now and stuff, where you can tell. Like I've talked about how Matt Fowler always will mention when he's so grateful for not horrible kids shows that it clearly have writers that are thinking about the parents watching.
Yeah.
You know, even Sesame Street, the fact that we get Game of Thrones parody on Sesame Street.
God. Well, Sesame Street is a whole other level of amazing.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Oh yeah. But Sesame Street is obviously aimed at a younger audience, the Muppet Show, but they still keep in mind that adults are going to see it because adults are in the room when their kids are watching. You know.
But I guess what I mean about Sesame Street is like Sesame Street is able to tackle like really big topics in a way, you know, for kids. I think like Muppets is far more about entertainment, and Sesame Street is far more about education. They're both amazing.
Yeah.
But I've seen some of those Sesame Street breakouts where you're like, well, they're talking about one of their dads in jail, like. Right. That's intense.
Right.
Like,
if Muppets go to jail, they're just gonna have fun with it.
they're gonna have a great time.
And they did,
as we've seen.
Yeah. Freaking Constantine.
Such a bleep.
Yes. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very excited to have Muppets back.